Hi everyone, welcome. I'm Chris Newhart, and I'm here with a special episode today with
Bart Merrell.
Heck yeah, and thank you so much for being on the show. Greatly appreciate it.
You're welcome. Thanks
Heck
for having me.
For real, and for people that aren't familiar with you and your work, could you give people a little bit of a background of who you are?
Sure. So I started out as going to college in accounting. I was studying accounting to get in the FBI.
Oh wow.
And when I was probably 1/4 away from graduating. I went down to help my dad on the farm, and we'll learn more about the farm later. I went down to help him on the farm, and while I was there, all the customs agents, the border patrol, a few police agencies, they were getting RK surgery done on their eyes to correct their vision. This is before LASIK. This is where they actually go in and they cut your eyeball, and the scarring changes the shape of your eyeball and it corrects your vision.
Wow.
I'm down there, I'm making money, no place to spend it because it's out in the middle of nowhere in Podunk, New Mexico. And so I had this money burning holes in my pocket. I was like, okay, I'm going to get it done. It was a couple $1,000s high. I went in and I got it done. It came out great. From that time I was 23, 24-ish until just about 3-4 years ago. I had perfect vision. And so it worked perfectly, but I got back up to school at Utah State University, and I found out that automatically qualified me from the FBI.
Wow.
I was quite devastated. And I was doing my part-time job of landscaping for $5 an hour. That was the going rate back then.
Yeah.
And a buddy just came up to me and he said, hey, do you want to go back to Japan and take the, help me with the Legend Tower in Japan? And he was joking, but I thought about it, and the price was good. It was $15 an hour plus expenses, so 3 times what I was making, plus all my expenses taken care of. I was like, yeah, shoot, sign me up, I'll go.
For real.
And that's kind of how it started, but inadvertently. And so, like I said, I grew up on a pig farm with my dad. And my dad wasn't just a farmer, he was an entrepreneur. He had his hands in a dairy farm up in Idaho, a mushroom plant in Utah, a produce warehouse in Phoenix, Arizona. I mean, he just had his hands in all these things, stock market, doing it. He was a businessman, an entrepreneur.
That's awesome.
And he never set me down and taught me the birds and the bees of business.
Wow.
It was just completely by example.
Right.
And so when I was kind of devastated, it just naturally kicked in. Okay, what can I do? What can I do? I did end up graduating in accounting. I applied for a job, and I really didn't like accounting. My whole purpose of accounting is that was the easiest way in the FBI. And once you get in the FBI, you can apply for different positions, and they're going to take you at what you're good at.
Right.
So I didn't like accounting, and I was not good at accounting. If it had accounting in the class name, except for one class, which was managerial accounting, I would study my butt off, and I would get get a B or a C. I was never going to get that A. But if it was biology or English or whatever the other class was, without accounting in it, I wouldn't study so hard and I would get an A. So I wasn't particularly good at it. It was all for a goal of getting the FBI. So I really didn't want to do accounting. I really didn't want an accounting position. I didn't want to sit behind a desk in a cubicle and count other people's money.
Yeah.
And so it just naturally kicked in. And it was to a point where things would just happen. I was in Japan doing the bungee jump and the amusement park stuff. And I met a guy at the gym that I went to. He was a tall Japanese guy. I'd been at the gym for 2 weeks, and probably, except for the staff, maybe one person talked to me because I'm this big gaijin, this big American over there,
Yeah.
And finally this guy comes up to me and he goes, hello. And I'm just like, hello? And then I started in Japanese with him, and he was like, oh, I'm so glad you spoke Japanese, because my conversation was done at hello. Well, he and I became partners, and we started doing exports to Japan, shipping camping trailers, Ford and Dodge diesel pickups. I just shipped over a boat last year, a duck hunting boat, $30,000 duck hunting boat.
Wow.
And so big stuff like that, and things just happened, okay? You might think of it as luck, but what is luck? Luck is when preparedness and opportunity meet. That's an old Greek saying. And so I just kind of look back on my life and I go, well, it just kind of came together. That's not what it was. It was being aware of all the opportunities that are around you and being willing to take advantage of those or take action and make things happen.
Yes, sir.
And so that's why I wrote my book. My brand is Monetize Your Mindset. And this is basically a memory jogger to help you get ideas that you have already in your head. It started out as 3 questions. Now it's kind of 6 plus an ending question, but what do you like to do? What do you need to do? What are you already doing? How can you monetize it? And now let's take it one step further. What would you like to learn? What do you need to learn? What have you already learned? And how can you monetize it?
That's so smart.
With the internet today and what we're doing here, you can monetize anything.
Yep.
And one of the things that I think people overlook the most is the things you need to do. Everybody wants to monetize their passion. Follow your passion, as they say. And I like that. Follow your passions, that's a good idea. But what about the stuff you need to do for yourself that you're going to do anyway?
Yep.
Okay, so about 14 years ago now, my wife said that my before picture was good enough. That I need to start working on that after picture. That she said, I'm kind of getting a little bit more than I bargained for. I would like to see a little less of you. And she was joking, but she was right. I was heavy, and I still am a little bit overweight. But I was 6'4", my height, 280 pounds. I was quite chunky, and I would go to Walmart and look around, not to diss on Walmart shoppers or anything, but I go to Walmart and look around like, I don't look that bad.
Yeah.
But then I look at the pictures that I took, the before pictures, I was in a pretty bad place. I was unhealthy, I was heavy, I wasn't feeling good. I finally found something that I needed to do. Well, if I'm going to do it for myself, I thought, and this is all about having a monetized mindset. If I'm going to do it for myself, I'm going to get paid for it. And I set out to look for, okay, what's going to make me skinny?
Yeah.
And everything that was out there was about the 90-day challenge of me getting my butt to the gym and dieting. And that wasn't in my DNA. So I kept looking. I looked for 8 years. When it came about, I was like, okay, what's a good domain name? I don't want to promote someone else's company. I want to promote me.
Right.
What's a good domain name? Well, what's everybody's weight loss goal, or a lot of people's weight loss goal? What is it?
Maybe like 20 pounds or at least.
A lot of it is get back to their weight. They want to get back to, that's what my wife wanted me to do.
Right.
She wanted me to give her what she bargained for.
Yeah.
And so I was like, back to myweddingweight.com.
That's smart.
I grabbed it and I held on to that sucker for 8 years until I found something that worked for me. And we had a friend of mine, she called me from California, and she says, hey Bart, I found this thing, you gotta try it. And I'm like, okay Beth, what is it? Oh, it's the 10-day celebrity transformation cleanse. Beth, I want to do a 10-day cleanse like I want a colonoscopy, and that's not very bad.
Yeah.
She paused for just a second. Quick, like she just says, well, at your age, you probably need both. Long story short, I tried it. In my first cleanse, I lost 18.5 pounds without setting foot in the gym.
Wow.
And I was like, wow, this is good. So I tried another one. You know, I took a break for about 4 or 5 days. I did another one. Lost another 11 pounds. So here we are, less than a month, and I lost almost 30 pounds. I'm like, oh, this is awesome.
Right.
Okay, so I did 2 more. In 2 months and 5 days, I did 4 cleanses, lost 48 pounds.
Wow, that's amazing.
Now, it's a great thing. That's a great story. But the point is, the whole point is, it turned into a stream of income.
Right.
Once people saw me, I was walking my dogs. I had, at the time, I had 2 Rottweilers and another little short hair pointer mix, German short hair pointer mix. I'm walking the dogs on my street, and my neighbor that's a few doors down stops. He's like, I just wanted to see who was walking Bart's dogs because, man, you look 20 years younger. You know, so
Yeah.
it's a great thing, but the big thing is, once people saw me doing it, I'm not passionate about weight loss. I don't even like it. I mean, I like to lose weight, but who likes the dieting process, right?
Right.
I don't even like it, but I needed to do it for myself. So in my mind, the first thing was, I'm gonna make money doing it. And that's what you need to have as in entrepreneurship, in business, in side hustle. I mean, I want people to find their ideal side hustle. And this is what helps people do that. And that's what I'm passionate about, is helping people find whatever it is that they can do and turn it into a stream of income.
That's beautiful. For real. That's amazing. Because like that's why I try to tell people, I'm like, you know, figure out what you love and then spend your time and money and energy into that, and just start off small. Like you're working for someone else 8 hours a day instead of working overtime, because I was working overtime, and then I realized the more I make, the more they take, and I'm like, I don't want to work for someone else overtime my whole life, you know. And so I started, you know, my biological father was an entrepreneur, but didn't teach me anything, just, you know, by example. And then my stepfather was an entrepreneur, but actually taught me. And so we had a cleaning company, and then lost it, and then I decided to do my own cleaning company so that way I could do it my own way. And I started working for someone else for a while, and then after working, I got complacent with, you know, working for someone else at the time. Started doing the overtime because it's guaranteed.
Right.
But then I, you know, got back into the cleaning thing. 1 hour a day would, you know, get back into researching how to start my own company, and then 2 hours a day, 3 hours a day, to where I eventually fired my boss and, you know, got to do that full time. And that's what I love about you were saying earlier, you know, how if, you know, I guess what I'm trying to say is that, you know, what you're saying is if you find what you love, then it just makes your life so much easier and better, because when you wake up and you're working for someone else, you're like, oh man, I gotta go to work. But when you find that niche of what you love, then you're excited and you can't wait to go to work.
Right. Right, and you know, you're talking about working for someone else, or let's look at the part-time, I say you need extra money.
Yep.
And you do the part-time job thing. So I volunteered until COVID hit. I volunteered at the Haven House. It's a drug rehab center in downtown Salt Lake. And I was teaching people how to speak, public speaking. And this one kid, he got up and he talked about how he started out, you know, going to school, and his parents were from El Salvador, and they were both working 2 and 3 jobs trying to make ends meet.
Yeah.
So he would have a place to come home to after school. But he talked about how he would go to school, walk to school and from school, in rain, snow, didn't matter the weather, he was walking. And he would see all the other kids get picked up, and he would just wish that someone would pick him up. By the time he was, you know, 14, 15, he was in prison. He got into the game because it was family, because it was the family that was there. And, you know, he was in prison from 15 till 29, all except for 6 months of his life. Now, I'm not saying his parents weren't bad. I mean, he even said it. My parents were good parents. They just weren't there.
Yeah.
They were trying to provide, doing part-time jobs, working for someone else.
Yeah.
The price you're paid to do a part-time job is less than you're getting.
Oh yeah.
If you can use that time and monetize the other things that I'm talking about. What do you like to do? What do you need to do? What are you already doing? You can probably make more money and have more time to be with your family.
Yeah.
And do some of the stuff you love.
Yeah, because you have that spark to research how to, get into those things and everything. And it's like, with all your knowledge and experience that you acquired being an entrepreneur, what's some advice that you give to people that are trying to follow in your footsteps?
So one of the things that I like to say, and I have this for you, it's a pig poop postulate.
Heck yeah, appreciate it.
So my dad, even in death, taught me valuable lessons. Have you heard the story of Acres of Diamonds?
I don't believe so.
So Acres of Diamonds is an old story about Ali Hafed, a Persian farmer. He sold his farm and he went in search of diamonds. He died broke, alone in a foreign land, never found his diamonds. The farmer he sold his farm to was watering his camel in a brook that ran through the property, saw this rock that was a little bit different, reached down and picked it up, and lo and behold, it was a diamond. He found acres of diamonds in what was Ali Hafed's backyard.
Wow.
Me and my family, we have a similar story. Instead of acres of diamonds, we call it acres of pig poop. Like I said, I grew up on a farm in southern New Mexico.
Yeah.
There were more pigs than people in my town.
Wow.
Because of us. At any one time on the farm, there was roughly 20,000 pigs. Now, 20,000 pigs creates a lot of pig poop.
Oh yeah.
Okay? We had 3 man-made ponds that we would divert the stuff into, and we would rotate it from year to year. Now, my dad, in his late 60s, he decided it was time to shut down the pig operation and go in search of his next few acres of diamonds.
Yeah.
He died at age 81. He never found them. We sold the farm in 2012 for $295,000.
Wow.
That was a fair price for the property at the time.
Yeah.
6 months later, the new owners of our farm were leveling those man-made ponds that we had made. They'd been dry on top for years, but the heavy grader, as it was grading, broke through the crust and sunk up to its belly in this black muck.
Dang.
They called in experts. The experts came and analyzed the stuff, and right there on the spot, they offered the new owners of our farm $2,000 a ton for the stuff. That's $1 a pound for old pig poop.
Wow.
500 tons of old pig poop was acres of diamonds
Literally.
right under my dad's nose.
Man.
And
That's
when
so
something
wild.
like that happens, all you can do is laugh because it's not our property anymore.
Yeah.
So my question is to your audience, to you, what about you? Where are your acres of diamonds? Are they right there in your own backyard? Are they right there within your grasp? Are they right there under your nose? Don't overlook them like Ali Hafed and my dad.
Heck yeah, that's
So that's my best advice to anybody is don't overlook the opportunities that are right here.
that's beautiful.
So that's what I would leave for your audience and for your people. Is there's just so much that you can do.
For real. Greatly appreciate that. It's very powerful advice, I feel it.
Yeah, it is.
And with that, before we get going, could you give everyone out your links, your social media websites,
Sure.
your website, so people can like, share, comment, subscribe?
So I have a podcast, the Monetize Your Mindset podcast, can be found on any podcast, your favorite podcast player, whatever you listen to. Do a weekly show, and I interview people. I had you on the show.
For real. Appreciate the opportunity.
I have different opportunities, different entrepreneurs at different levels, so that no matter at what level you're at, you probably can get some value. And this month, we are focusing on goal setting and goals and following through, because it's easy to set a goal.
Oh yeah.
The hard part is to take the action steps to follow through.
Heck yeah.
And so we're focusing, January to get people, it's gonna come from different angles so that someone could get something out of it. My first one was just this last week with Gwen, man, what a spitfire. And she had some great things to help you set goals properly so that you're not overwhelmed. So
Right.
some great stuff there on the podcast. My website is bartmerrell.com. That's spelled with an E-L-L, so Bart, MERRELL.com. Same thing, you can find me on Instagram, Twitter, and LinkedIn, Facebook as well, under Bart Merrell. You can get this book, Monetize Your Mindset, there as well. I have a free course that's a memory jogger course, helps you take your ideas. By the time you finish the course, you'll have a handful of ideas that you can turn into a stream of income.
That's awesome.
And you can find that right now. I'm in the process of switching from one host to another, to Teachable.
Right.
And so in the next couple of days, it'll be up. I'm not sure what it's like, or if it's in suspension or what right now, but it's youridealsidehustle.com is where I'll be at.
That's amazing.
That's a free course, a starter course.
Heck yeah. Well, I greatly appreciate everything you do and everything you do for the community and everything you do for entrepreneurs, because as we all know, being an entrepreneur, it's not easy, and the more we get together, the better it is. Teamwork makes the dream work, so.
And sometimes you feel like you're the only one, you're alone, because you're working by yourself.
Oh yeah.
I tell people I love working for myself except at Christmas time, because nobody's paying for me to go to a Christmas party.
Yeah.
If I want a Christmas party, I gotta throw my own. The benefit is, I'm not going to a Christmas party with a lot of people I don't like. To invite who I like.
For real. Yeah, I think that's before we go, I think one of the biggest things about being an entrepreneur is it's not about being extremely wealthy, it's about being extremely free and having that freedom to live your life and do what you want when you want it, like you talked about earlier. So
Right.
Appreciate you trying to help people do that and all the things that you do. I know I'm definitely going to start being more active in your podcast.
Awesome.
For real.
Yeah.
Well, again, thank you so much for taking the time to do this interview.
You're welcome.
Everyone, you heard his links. Please go like, share, subscribe, comment, and thank you for tuning in, and much love and respect.